Picture this. In the heart of a bustling New York City street, or perhaps London's posh Mayfair, a snooty socialite delivers a stinging slap to a poised black woman, sparking outrage and whispers. But what if that victim isn't who she seems? She's the secret powerhouse wife of a billionaire CEO, and the revenge that follows will leave you breathless. If you're in the USA or UK craving edge-of-your-seat drama that exposes the ugly underbelly of privilege, smash that subscribe button right now. Join our community for exclusive twists, real-life inspired tales, and notifications so you never miss a beat. Subscribe today and let's dive into the chaos. In the shimmering glow of midday sun filtering through the towering skyscrapers of Manhattan, where the elite mingled with the masses in a delicate dance of social hierarchy, Evelyn Harrington, a self-proclaimed queen of New York's high society, strode down Fifth Avenue like she owned every inch of the pavement. At 52, Evelyn was the epitome of old money. Her family traced back to colonial shipping magnates, and her husband, Reginald, was a Wall Street tycoon whose hedge fund manipulated markets with the flick of a wrist. Draped in a Chanel ensemble worth more than most people's annual salaries, with diamonds glinting on her fingers like captured stars, Evelyn carried an air of untouchable superiority. She was known for her charity galas, where she donated just enough to keep her name in the society pages. But behind closed doors, her disdain for those she deemed beneath her festered like an untreated wound. On this particular Tuesday, Evelyn was in a foul mood. Her latest Botox session had left her with a slight asymmetry she blamed on her incompetent dermatologist, and the barista at her favorite cafe had dared to serve her latte with almond milk instead of oat. As she hurried toward a lunch meeting with her equally snobbish friends at Le Bernardin, her path crossed with that of a woman who would unwittingly shatter her carefully curated world. The woman in question was Serena Adebayo, a 38-year-old vision of grace and quiet strength, her dark skin glowing under the sun as if kissed by the gods of her Nigerian ancestors. Serena moved with the confidence of someone who had conquered mountains unseen by the casual observer. Dressed in a simple yet elegant midi dress from a sustainable brand, paired with comfortable flats that spoke of practicality over pretense, she blended into the crowd, not out of invisibility, but because she chose not to flaunt. Unbeknownst to Evelyn, Serena was no ordinary pedestrian. She was the wife of Marcus Kingsley, the enigmatic billionaire CEO of Technova, a Silicon Valley giant that revolutionized AI-driven healthcare, boasting a net worth north of $15 billion. But Serena was more than a trophy wife. She held a PhD in biomedical engineering from MIT, had co-founded a nonprofit empowering women in STEM across Africa, and quietly managed a portfolio of investments that rivaled her husband's in savvy. Their marriage was a partnership forged in mutual respect, born from a chance meeting at a TED conference where Marcus, a self-made tech mogul from humble Brooklyn roots, was captivated by Serena's intellect and fire. They kept their life private, shunning the spotlight to protect their two young children from the vultures of fame. On this day, Serena was simply running errands, picking up organic produce from a local market for a family dinner, when fate, or perhaps karma, intervened. It started with a minor collision. Evelyn, engrossed in her phone scrolling through Instagram feeds of rival socialites' vacations, bumped shoulder first into Serena, who was carrying a canvas tote filled with fresh vegetables. The impact sent a tomato tumbling to the sidewalk, squishing under Evelyn's Louboutin heel. "Watch where you're going, you clumsy fool," Evelyn snarled, her voice dripping with venom as she whirled around, her perfectly coiffed blonde hair barely moving. Serena, ever the composed one, bent down to retrieve her bag, offering a polite, "I'm sorry, ma'am, it was an accident." But Evelyn's rage, fueled by her bad morning and a lifetime of unchecked privilege, boiled over. In her mind, Serena was just another urban nuisance, a stereotype she harbored from whispered conversations at country clubs. Without a second thought, Evelyn's hand flew up, delivering a sharp slap across Serena's cheek that echoed like a crack of thunder amidst the bustling street. Gasps erupted from onlookers. Phones were whipped out to capture the moment. Serena's head snapped to the side, a red welt blooming on her flawless skin, but she didn't flinch or retaliate. Instead, her eyes met Evelyn's with a steely calm that should have been a warning. "That was uncalled for?" Serena said softly, her voice laced with an accent that hinted at worlds Evelyn could never comprehend. The crowd murmured, some shouting obscenities at Evelyn, others urging Serena to call the police. But Evelyn, emboldened by her status, huffed and straightened her jacket. You people think you can just wander around like you belong here? Learn some manners, she spat, the racial undertone hanging heavy in the air like smog. With that, she turned on her heel and marched away, her heart pounding not with regret, but with a twisted sense of victory. Little did she know, the slap wasn't just an assault. It was the spark that would ignite a firestorm, unraveling her life thread by thread. Serena, rubbing her cheek, pulled out her phone not to call the authorities, but to text Marcus. Minor incident on 5th. Handled discreetly? His response was immediate. On it. Love you. As the video of the slap went viral within minutes, posted by a bystander with the caption, entitled Karen Assaults Innocent Woman in NYC, the internet exploded. Hashtags like #Slapgate and #Justice for Serena trended, drawing millions of views across TikTok, Twitter, and Instagram. Commenters decried the racism, the classism, the sheer audacity. But Serena remained silent publicly, letting the storm brew while she returned home to her Upper East Side brownstone, where Marcus awaited with open arms. Marcus Kingsley was a force of nature. At 42, he had built Technova from a garage startup into a behemoth, outpacing competitors like Google in niche markets. His story was the American dream personified. Orphaned young, raised in foster care, he coded his way to scholarships at Stanford, then exploded onto the scene with innovations in personalized medicine. Marrying Serena 5 years ago had been his greatest achievement. She grounded him, challenged him, and together they navigated the cutthroat world of billionaires with humility. When he saw the video, forwarded by his assistant before Serena even arrived home, his blood boiled. But Marcus was no hothead, he was a strategist. We'll make this right, he told Serena as she recounted the details over chamomile tea. But not with fists, with facts. That night, as Evelyn dined with her friends, laughing off the little mishap as a necessary correction, her phone buzzed with notifications. The video had reached her circle. Evelyn, is that you? Texted her best friend, Penelope. Darling, you look positively feral. Evelyn dismissed it, but unease crept in. By morning, the story had hit major outlets. CNN, the New York Times, even the BBC across the pond, framing it as a stark example of racial inequality in America. Unfazed at first, Evelyn hired a PR firm to spin the narrative. It was self-defense, her statement read. The woman aggressively bumped into me. But the internet detectives, those relentless keyboard warriors, dug deeper. They identified Serena from facial recognition apps linked to old conference photos, and the revelation hit like a bombshell. The slapped woman is Serena Kingsley, wife of billionaire Marcus Kingsley. Headlines screamed, "Wealthy socialite slaps billionaire's wife in shocking NYC altercation." Evelyn's world tilted. Reginald called from his office, furious. "What have you done? Technova is a major investor in our fund." Indeed, Marcus had quietly funneled millions into Reginald's hedge fund years ago, a detail Evelyn never bothered to learn. As the backlash intensified, sponsors pulled from Evelyn's charity events, invitations dried up, and her social media accounts were flooded with hate. But this was just the beginning. The first twist lay in Serena's own backstory, one that Evelyn could never have anticipated. Serena wasn't born into wealth. Raised in Lagos, Nigeria, by a single mother who worked as a nurse, she excelled in school despite hardships. A scholarship to MIT changed everything, where she pioneered research in AI ethics, focusing on biases against underrepresented groups in tech. It was there she met Marcus, who was guest lecturing. Their bond was instant, but Serena insisted on building her own empire. Post-marriage, she founded Empower Her Africa, a foundation that had educated thousands of girls in STEM, quietly amassing her own fortune through savvy investments in green tech. The slap, for Serena, wasn't just personal. It symbolized the microaggressions she'd faced since moving to America. The clutched purses, the followed in stores, the assumptions of inferiority. "This isn't about revenge," she told Marcus. "It's about exposure." Together, they plotted not destruction, but enlightenment. Marcus's team leaked documents showing Evelyn's family foundation had discriminatory hiring practices, favoring white applicants for scholarships. The media feasted. Harrington Charity accused of racism amid slap scandal. Evelyn, cornered, lashed out in interviews. "It's all a setup. That woman provoked me." But evidence mounted against her. Witnesses came forward with stories of Evelyn's past rudeness, berating waitstaff, making racist jokes at parties. Then came the twist that shook Evelyn to her core. A DNA test, prompted by anonymous tips, revealed that her great-grandfather had profited from the transatlantic slave trade, with ties to plantations that exploited African labor. The irony was poetic. Evelyn, slapping a black woman whose ancestors might have suffered under her forebears' regime. As protests formed outside her Park Avenue apartment, Evelyn's marriage cracked. Reginald, seeing his business ties severed, Marcus pulled all investments, filed for divorce, citing irreparable damage to reputation. Evelyn was left alone in her opulent home, walls closing in as friends ghosted her. But the story deepened with another layer. Unbeknownst to all, Serena had a secret connection to Evelyn. Years ago, during her early days in New York, Serena had applied for a grant from the Harrington Foundation. Rejected despite her qualifications, she suspected bias and vowed to rise above. Now, in a masterstroke, Serena bought out the foundation anonymously, restructuring it to prioritize diversity. When revealed, Evelyn begged for mercy in a tearful voicemail. "Please, I didn't know who you were." Serena's response was measured. A public statement forgiving Evelyn but demanding accountability. A donation match to empower her and public apology. Evelyn complied, humiliated on national TV, her empire in ruins. Yet twists abounded. Marcus uncovered that Reginald had been embezzling from investors, including Technova. In a dramatic boardroom showdown, Marcus exposed him, leading to arrests. Evelyn, implicated as an accessory, faced charges. But in a final redemption arc, Serena intervened, offering leniency if Evelyn volunteered in Africa with Empower Her. Evelyn, broken but transformed, accepted. Months later, in a dusty Nigerian village, Evelyn taught basic computer skills to girls. Her hands calloused, her perspective shattered. Serena watched from afar, knowing true change came not from slaps, but from stories like theirs. As the dust settled, Serena and Marcus's life flourished. Their children grew up hearing the tale not as victimhood, but empowerment. The incident sparked national conversations on privilege, leading to policy changes in corporate diversity. Evelyn, surprisingly, found purpose in her new life, authoring a memoir on unlearning bias that became a bestseller. But the ultimate twist? Evelyn discovered a half-sister from her father's affair, a black woman living in Harlem. Reunited, they bridged divides, with Serena as the unlikely mediator. In the end, a single slap echoed through lives, proving that ignorance's cost is steeper than any fortune.